Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second video of the solutions for the Chapter 1 review. We are starting at number 7, which refers to our Figure 1 here. Figure 1 is showing a plane. That plane contains 3 lines, N, M, and P, and a number of points, A, B, C, D, F, G, J, and H. That plane is named K. So you can see this K is the name of the plane. So number 7 says name a line that contains point J. Well, point J is on line M. There are other ways to name line M, thank God, because that's not one of our options. Remember, we can name that with any 2 points. So we can name that BD, DB, JD, JB. The only option that we have there that fits that description is DB. Name a point not contained on line AD, that is line N, for those of you keeping track, or line FG, that is line P, for those of you keeping track. So we need a point that is not on either one of those 2 lines. So as you can see, that rules out a lot of our options. The only points that are in this figure that are not on one of those lines are B, J, and H. K is a plane, not a point, so that's out immediately. A is on line N, and D is on line N as well. So our answer there would be C. Number 8 is C. Okay, number 9 reverts back to the betweenness of points problems, so it's just like numbers 2 and 3 on the packet. A is between Y and Z, so we should be setting up the equation YA plus AZ equals YZ. Now in the problem we're told that YA is 5.5, we are told that AZ is 2x, and we are told that the entire length is 41.5. So we plug those values in. 5.5 plus 2x equals 41.5, and we solve. Subtract 5.5 from each side. Gives us 2x equals 36. Divide by 2, and we get x equals 18. Now let's go back and check. X is not the answer to the problem. We then need to find AZ. AZ is 2 times x, which is 2 times 18, or 36 units. So our answer would be C, 36. Okay, on the next one, we have the measures of 2 complementary angles, which means that they add to 90 degrees. And then they tell us those. Here's our first angle, and here's our second angle. So we're going to add those together. 12q minus 9 plus 8q plus 14, and that sum has to be 90 degrees. Now the parentheses are only there for effect. We don't have to do any multiplication or anything like that. We should be adding these together. 12 plus 8 is 20q. Negative 9 plus 14 is positive 5 equals 90. Subtract 5 from each side. Gives us 20q equals 85. And then divide by 20. Which gives us x, or q, sorry, is 4.25. Now this is a famous ACT, SAT mistake. That is not the answer to the question. We are asked for the measures of the angles, right? So there should be 2 answers. So before we even started this problem, we could have gone over here and gone, well, it can't be these 2 because they only have 1 answer, so they get eliminated. So to figure out what those angles are, we're going to plug Q back in. Our first angle is going to be 12 times 4.25 minus 9. That would be, what, 51 minus 9? Or 42 degrees is our first angle. And our second angle, even though it's a multiple choice question, and we already know the answer based on our first one, would be 8 times 4.25 plus 14. Which is 34 plus 14, or 48 degrees. So our answers are 42 and 48. Number 11. is a midpoint formula problem. The reason we know it's a midpoint formula problem is they're asking for the coordinates where they've run half the distance. So this is a midpoint problem. Again, you'll have this formula. You do not need to have it memorized. The midpoint is x1 plus x2 divided by 2 for the x coordinate, and y1 plus y2 divided by 2 for the y coordinate. So we have our 2 points. x1 is -2, y1 is 5, x2 is 4, and y2 is -5. We're going to break that down and do the x and y coordinates separately. So we're going to do the x coordinate first. x1 plus x2 divided by 2 is -2 plus 4 divided by 2, which is 2 divided by 2, or 1. And the y coordinate, we do y1 plus y2 divided by 2, which is 5 plus -5 divided by 2, or 0 divided by 2 is 0. So our midpoint M is the point 1, 0, or letter B. Final question for this particular video is number 12. We have a picture once again, and it says use the figure below to answer the following questions. If the measure of angle VSR is 8x plus 18, find the value of x so that US is perpendicular, for those of you that don't remember what that sign means, to VS. Now what that tells us is that if those are perpendicular, US and VS, then the measure of angle VSR has to be 90 degrees in order for this to be a perpendicular angle, a right angle. So we are going to say our equation is 8x plus 18 equals 90, and we're going to solve for x. So we would subtract 18 from each side, which would give us 8x equals 72. And then we are going to divide by 8, which is going to give us x equals 9. So x would be 9 in order for that to be a right angle, which would make US perpendicular to VS. That does it for the second video. The third video will commence with number 13.